Hi, my name is Jared. Welcome back, and this is a tarot reading for the collective for the month. So I'm going to just dive right into it. I'm not going to ramble like I have in my last couple of videos because I have a tendency to do that. But first up, we have the Seven of Wands in reverse. And what I get from this is indecision. There is an indecision that's happening with the collective, and I can say even for myself, I'm in a bit of a state where I have been indecisive. But this seems to be focused on the second card, which is the World, which I take as perfectionism. Someone is all upside down about perfectionism and something that needs to be perfect or not. At least that's just how I see it. But whatever the case may be, just understand that it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough. That's what I'm learning doing these videos. It just have to be good enough. Not perfect, but good enough. Now, during this process, there might be some loss because the next card that came up is the Five of Cups. Now, as you can see, there's 3 cups in front of this person, and there are 2 cups behind them, both of which I suspect are still full of wine or whatever. This person is distraught over losing, but they don't even realize they have 2 full cups there. They're still lamenting the loss of the 3 cups. So they're not even realizing that, yeah, there's still something there. So even if you've gone through a loss because you've been too busy focusing on something in particular, something that's your world, understand that with the Page of Wands, adventure or some sort of new mindset about a particular thing might be forming out of all of this. And it might be a bit fiery too, because we started off with the Seven of Wands and we're ending with the Wand card, so there might be some fiery energy in this, which is really interesting because the next card that I got is the full moon in Sagittarius. Look at the bigger picture. And if we look at the bigger picture of what's going on, we can probably see that focusing on that perfection may not be serving us very well. And that card goes between the Seven of Wands and the World, and that goes on the top there between those cards. And bridging the top of the card from the World to the Five of Cups is the full moon in Capricorn. The end of a tough cycle approaches, which is really interesting because we're dealing with loss, and that tough cycle might be the exact kind of loss that you need. It might be a shedding of a particular weight that might have held you back from going out and exploring with that Page of Wands energy. The next card, which goes between the Five of Cups and the Page of Wands, is you are good enough. And this is something you might realize during that time, where you thought, well, things had to be a certain way, the world had to be this way or that way. Well, maybe you're finding out it doesn't have to be, and that you're good enough. Up next, and this is below and in front of the Seven of Wands, we have Domination, and we have Mars in Sagittarius. Mars there in Sagittarius. There we have 2 men wrestling, and then above that we have the religious symbols, which some might be very religious in this time in terms of how they're approaching things, almost to the point of being rigid. So understand that whatever you're wrestling with in the realm of the mind, and keep in mind that each of these cards actually has a fiery energy here. Full moon in Sagittarius. We have Leo here. You can see that, Leo. And of course, Wands being of the suit of fire. And then of course we have Sagittarius and Mars here. So definitely very fiery energy that we're starting out with. But it doesn't mean that you can't change your perspective on things. So in between the Seven of Wands and the World, we have protection. So just know that during this time you are protected, or that maybe you need to protect yourself from these thoughts that are causing you that strife, that indecision. So keep that in mind. Now, between the World and the Five of Cups, and these are below those cards, we have loss, which really, you know, we have the end of a tough cycle, and then we have the Five of Cups. So something will be lost, but it may not necessarily be for the worst. It's almost like a shedding of weight of sorts, and maybe getting rid of things that don't necessarily serve us anymore. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. So between the Five of Cups and the Page of Wands, below that, we have enthusiasm, because from that loss, we might find some enthusiasm. Enthusiasm we didn't think we had. Because, you know, when we're in a state of indecision and we have loss, we don't necessarily think about the good things that can actually come out of that. Because, you know, you know, human emotions. We're just sitting there. We don't have that higher perspective when we're in the middle of it. Drop this card. So when we're in the middle of something like that, we don't see that. But the one thing we have to remember and learn to use through all of that is the final card, and this goes beneath and sort of in caps the Page of Wands, and that is adaptability. I couldn't think of a better thing to have in your arsenal during a Mercury retrograde like we're going through right now, or through a time of indecision where you're focused on one thing so much that you can't even see what's going on. So much so that you might have a loss or an end of a cycle that approaches, which is a loss in and of itself, that can ultimately lead to some sort of enthusiasm, because we never see it like that in the moment. We never do. Especially during a time like this where communication is extra difficult, things can be misinterpreted, other than, you know, what our intentions are, which can of course lead to that internal strife, right? So whatever the case is, whether it's some indecision you've been wrestling with or some internal strife, just know that as you navigate these waters, I mean, I got this kind of catch in my throat, had a little snack before this, that things will ultimately work out if you're adaptable and you believe yourself to be good enough. So I'm just to summarize, what we have here is we have some internal strife or indecision that might be caused by focusing on some sort of perfection. And what we need to do is look at the bigger picture and not let those things dominate us, and protect ourselves in the fact that we are trying to navigate these internal things, or external things as they might be in some cases, from a loss that might be inevitable. I mean, because it's an end of, and the end of a tough cycle almost always ends with loss. And when you feel grief from that loss, and the card on the Five of Cups says, feel your grief, but know that things will get better. And then from that knowing that things will get better, you know that you're good enough, and have that enthusiasm that the Page of Wands has as they set out on their adventure, whatever that might be. And be sure to bring the tool of adaptability along with you, because of all the things that you can have in your arsenal, adaptability is probably one of the biggest. It will make tough situations a lot easier to navigate, not just for yourself, but for others around you as well. So be as flexible as you can during this time. It's going to take up most of the month of March. I believe it's going to end on the 20th, the Mercury retrograde. So just understand that what's going to start off as perhaps maybe a tumultuous time in your life will ultimately end up equipping you with some tools that you might not have known that you had or needed. So with that, I will leave you there. I have a couple ideas for some Reiki videos, so I'll be putting those out over the next couple of days. I just wanted to get this done today. And thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down. And if you leave a comment down below, I may or may not reply to it, just depending on if and when I see it. But always be sure to leave a like, and if you're not subscribed and you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe. So thank you so much for watching. And if you see some other content on this channel that's not tarot related, just understand I'm just kind of doing my own thing here. So appreciate the view and the like or the comment if you left one. And I'll try to do these readings monthly, and perhaps even do monthly sign reads. I don't know how much I'm going to get into that, but there are really awesome creators here on YouTube that do that kind of thing, so be sure to seek them out, as I'm just getting started and some of these people are already just doing their thing and they're doing damn good at it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to tune in next month, as I'll have one of these readings unless I feel called to do one before then. So until then, we'll see you.